There's one AI company that is about to break out, in my opinion. It does have a collaboration with Samsung, and if Samsung doesn't make your eyes light up, well, keep in mind Samsung does provide components to Apple. They are partnered with Meta. They are partnered with Tesla. They're partnered with a number of big companies that you probably think are more powerful than Samsung, and you'd be right to think that. However, we're talking about Soundhound AI. This is one of the only ways to invest in a publicly traded vehicle that does voice AI. And if ChatGPT's 400 billion valuation and increasing value is enticing, there's no other way to get into LLM type investments publicly rather than through Soundhound. So let's jump into the chart. Let's jump into why there's a lot of buying activity, and let's jump into why there is some long-term prospects for this company that isn't as public facing as the ChatGPT we know and love. So here it is. This is the chart. I always, to this point, start with the chart because if you knew nothing about what this company does, you'd still be interested in it based on the volume drying up, the days getting compressed, their channel being formed, and I don't draw downward and upward sloping lines. I like to draw sideways ones, but you could say this is kind of a flag, right? When things are flagging, it looks like they're about to go up, and that's what we like to see, okay? If we zoom way out, yeah, we know this thing can run, and when things can run, we know volume can come in, and we like that. We like to get in before the volume gets super big so that we participate in that run. Of course, it did follow a little bit of the SPY as well, okay? Which is actually a little unusual for a company smaller like this. Of course, here it didn't follow the SPY at all. It skyrocketed, so I should temper my words. But let's jump into levels first off before we get into what this company does. I think levels are most important. And if you are technically inclined, you see 14.5 is a level. If you have eyes, I don't think it's that crazy to say that 1670 is a level going all the way back to January. And why do we talk about levels? Because if you buy now and it hits that level and it just blows through, well, you can use that level as risk to sort of trail some of your position. Or more responsibly, you can just trail with one of these moving averages, meaning the moving averages are going to go up, right? Because they're the average of the price over time. And so if it goes back down below one of these, then you can sell at that point. And when I say one of these, I mean this one's a pretty good one, the 20-day moving average. So right now, it's at a good spot where you can buy some stock, risk 50 cents, $14, and make, a few dollars, if not more. Of course, if we get up to where there's very little resistance up here, this is volume over time. It could go much higher than $20 and above. So now let's back up a little and say, hey, what the heck is this company doing? Well, they have a collaboration with Samsung, and I do want to jump into why Samsung is still relevant. Well, Apple uses Samsung's displays, memory chips, and camera modules in its iPhones. Okay, Sony, which is relevant to a lesser extent than Apple, but still huge, uses very similar components from Samsung. Dell, same thing. Verizon and AT&T uses handsets, network equipment. Makes a little more sense for those companies. And Meta actually uses their chips in displays in its VR headsets. So that's a pretty big vote of confidence considering how forward-thinking Meta is. Amazon as well. Qualcomm actually uses them for semiconductor manufacturing. Tesla uses their AI chips. This is a Chinese company, but that makes sense that they source all this from Samsung, given that Samsung is not a publicly traded ticker, okay? These are the symbols that we don't concern ourselves with because we're focused on NASDAQ and NYSE right now. although there's probably some opportunities on other stock exchanges, particularly ones that are pretty high volume, that you can participate in. Now, let's take a look at exactly the comparison that's often made between Samsung and its major competitor, which is BigBear AI. I do think that there are a lot of details we can go into Samsung using Perplexity, and Perplexity being obviously a juggernaut coming out of almost nowhere. But this isn't about Anthropic, Perplexity, ChatGPT. This is a video about what stocks you can actually buy right now and about what Soundhound does, okay? They have a chat AI assistant. They have voice AI technology. There's a company called 11 Labs, which is not publicly traded, but has probably the most advanced technology that you can use as a consumer. You can go try it out. I think it's one of the only companies with a moat compared to ChatGPT that's consumer-facing, has a big consumer user base, and has a ton of revenue. I think hundreds of millions at least, the low to mid hundreds of millions. So there's a lot of room for growth for Soundhound. Okay, now with that said, yes, they have 40 million revenue. It's up 200% year over year, and the comparison that's often made is with BigBear AI, which had a little less revenue. It's actually a drop, and the concern is that BigBear AI has a better long-term sort of connection to stable revenue, and that's because they are using government as their basically main customer, and they're most often compared with Palantir. Meanwhile, Soundhound basically works in more of these customer-facing sectors. We know White Castle, we know Chipotle. They all need to use AI to more efficiently serve their customers, literally serve their customers. And if we look at BigBear AI, follows a very similar trajectory to Soundhound, right? The chart looks similar, but right now, this little euphoric rise makes BBAI a little less interesting risk-reward wise. And when I'm talking about these stocks charts, I'm not talking about, hey, throw some money in here and check it in like a couple months. I'm talking about like, hey, you're the kind of person who wants to check this maybe at the end of the week, maybe in a couple days. Even better, like, you check it the next day if you can. And for that reason, I try to give you ideas that are the best for that type of behavior. Which I think most people, even if you're super busy, super busy job during the day, you can hop in, take a position around 1450, check it tomorrow. And I mean, these are entire days. So the entire price, this is one of the biggest moves. And it went, it went down 5%. So if you're okay with a 5% swing while you're working, that's the kind of position you want to take, position size you want to take. And the reason you're okay with that is because moves like this can happen where you get 20% or more conservatively, 10% in a day. And that's just one day. The whole point of this is you get in at a favorable spot, and then you look to get a couple 5 to 10% days in a row, and you sort of trail with the moving average. So you're up. And if it comes down, you can sell and still make a little bit of money. Because sometimes what happens is you get in, it goes up and up, and it just doesn't come down for a while. So you don't get spooked here, because this is when you sell. It didn't hit that line. You don't sell here. So you're getting a lot more bang for your buck and not worrying about little down moves. And you don't have to look at your phone really for about a month. I mean, you do, because you just make sure it doesn't touch the line. But when it's super far from the line, you don't have to worry about it. And I'm not trying to be super dumbing down what these lines are. They're super easy. It's just a moving average. You can find it on Robinhood. They do moving averages. I think they actually give moving averages as a default. Like, you don't even have to turn them on. I happen to use this Schwab broker software called Thinkorswim, previously from TD Ameritrade. But Robinhood's cool, Webull's cool. The stocks are doing the same thing on all of the softwares. So that's Soundhound. That's the publicly traded way to invest in AI right now, specifically AI voice. And it's the best one to buy right now, which is why we're talking about it. And that's over BigBear AI, in my humble opinion. If you like these breakdowns, if you want to chat about stocks, your portfolio, sort of what I'm talking about when I'm talking about moving averages, head over to stockscommunity.com. That link's in the description. Try it out for 7 days. Could be worth it. If you like these videos, hit that subscribe button. And if you want to get any feedback on stockscommunity.com, I will be posting some comments, and those are about ideas I've given, and those will show up in the post section on YouTube. So I will be seeing you one way or the other in the near future. Remember to hit that subscribe button if you are not subscribed to be notified on future videos.
This is Sam Putnam. This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.